as Joe Madison said.
Yeah.
But of course, the Attorney General, Pam Labondi, said, but her emails.
Yeah, but her emails.
But her emails.
But what about
literally.
Biden? But what about
what
Biden?
about Biden?
And the laptop.
Biden, the laptop.
We didn't.
And Obama.
Yeah.
Obama.
But what about? I'm surprised they ain't throwing his name out there.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming because they got Joe Biden. They got new Joe Biden commercials. Every time you turn on social media, here come another one. Joe Biden. Joe Biden is somewhere
Chilling.
Yeah.
Sleep.
And for all you conspiracy theorists who swear that Biden and Trump are together, everybody calm down. It's time to come back to reality, back to life, back to reality.
Speaking of which, there was a book that came out. Did you see that? There's a new book that this was dated yesterday. New book reveals that Democrats drew up plans to replace Biden as early as 2023. There were some Harris aides who thought that he might, quote, die in office.
Which of these gossip mongers? What's the book?
This is the book is called "Fight: The Battle Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House," according to the Guardian. The author is the outlet reviewed the book by authors Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnes ahead of its release next Tuesday.
They got to be correspondents for who?
Let's search. Let's do some digging.
Yeah,
who does Jonathan?
These are the reporters. Because look, Jake Tapper. Down the back, they writing a book now about Biden. Hey man, Jake Tapper, brother, let's just let the world hear this, and it'll get to you, even if you're not listening. Many of y'all are listening, so tell Jake Tapper this. We don't want to hear nothing from you and Dan Badge, okay? Absolutely nothing.
You had your chance.
Because y'all was in on it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all pushed that old man over the rail. Doesn't say.
Nah, I didn't say. So the name did it.
You got the Trump whisperer, Maggie Haberman, and Peter Baker. These are the people who write the daily stuff for the New York Times, the Washington Post, and then after the crime has been committed, write up the crime scene, the crime report. You know what I'm saying? I cannot wait for tomorrow in class with Carr. We're going to Karen and I, Professor Hunter and I, are going to have a ball because I'm coming in with the museum stuff. But ultimately, this is the category of people who write about things after they've occurred.
After the fact, yeah.
You know, Maggie Haberman is famous for that. New York Times, Peter Baker and them. That's what they do. Dana Milbank at one time, the Washington Post. I mean, they write these books like a year after the thing goes down. And this one's named Fight.
Fight inside the battle for the West Wing and the White House.
That's that marketing book title stuff that they did during the Trump Fire and Fury.
They named some names,
and Bob Woodward doing this kind of thing.
They named some names who are attached to this show. Even in some ways, they said Jamal Simmons, who's
of course,
known pundit, was involved in
of course
18 months before the election.
What do you mean 18 months? During the primaries, the first time.
Yeah.
I ain't even talking about 2020. I'm talking about 2016. I'm talking about 2012. I'm talking about why did Joe Biden get picked to be put on the bottom of the ticket with Barack Obama? Y'all want to dance that dance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of books been written about pushing Joe Biden off the cliff.
And let's
go back to 1991 when Joe Biden was the chair of the Senate committee gave the green light to Clarence Thomas. Come on, y'all. This is what they call long-form gossip.
In book form
gossip.
Book form.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then
AI probably wrote that shit.
Oh, you know what?
You know what I'm saying? Because how y'all turning this shit out of it? Y'all dumped it in AI and say, write a tell-all, and then they went and edited it. That's what people.
Wait a minute.
That's certainly what my students are doing. So my point is this is why we decided to jailbreak the Black University. That's why we moved to Narrative and Nubia and In Class and YouTube and everywhere else, because the university is dead, friends. On tomorrow, I'm going to talk about a long article interview in the New York Times about this very concept, because think about this. Trump has gone after the judges. He's going after the judges, and he's going after the students. He's going after anybody who is prepared to think on a high level. That's the last little thread standing between you and the straight Mussolini, Stalin, Hitler. This is what
martial law.
Martial law.
Because once those protections are going, and they say stay in your house, there's nothing protecting you. You're going to
other than fight back.
Well, I mean, that's going to look differently anyway.
It's going to look very different.
But when they say 6 o'clock, I need you off the streets, and you're like, well, wait a minute, no, I have rights.
You
and
have
they're
no
like,
rights.
Nah.
See, you answered the question you raised in the beginning.
Yeah.
How can they? No, you have no rights.
Yeah.
This is about who got the gun.
They come down there with the bullhorn, 6 o'clock. I need you on your porch.
No question.
Get your silly ass back in your house.
Silly ass. I ain't got no house. Well, then you die here in the street.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. But we will win when we fight back. I promise you, it's going to be like that. But I mean, what you're raising though is very important in this context. We can't ignore the fact that this is now put dead center in front of our faces.
Mm-hmm.
This lady stood up, the Attorney General of the United States yesterday, and said, but her emails.
But her emails.
They have captured the government. That's it. You're the Attorney General. We ain't prosecuting
What do you mean
shit.
these questions? What do you mean questions? What about her emails, though?
What about her emails?
You're still talking about Signalgate?
Oh, watch this. Wait till they charge Hillary Clinton.
Oh, jeez. For this?
They're going to charge everybody for whatever.
Yeah.
That's what Cash Patel looking like. There's somebody squeezing his neck, eyes popping out his head. Like, what them little dolls, them stress dolls where you squeeze it hard and your eyes pop out. Yeah, that's Cash Patel, the leader of the FBI. And all this cosplay shit. They love the cosplay. They always walking around with FBI hats. Christy Nome got about 150 different outfits.
Yeah.
She done tried out every camouflage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, you know. I'm sorry, Christy Lenome, to be consistent with the 80s.
Oh, with the 80s. Yeah.
Have I seen you somewhere before? I can't really tell for all that work you've had done on your face, but at the end of the day,
weren't you in that movie with Matthew Modine?
Yikes!
In the 80s?
Oh, Matthew Modine, he was in a Hollywood movie.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about more like Matthew Mack, star of the Homeland Security.
Oh, those are the movie titles. Oh man, I could do a whole list of those.
I'm coming home. How are you spelling coming? Anyway, but the whole point is anyway. Let's stop.
Dark. Cabinet after dark.
There it is.
That's it.
You know what? You should go on the road with that, man.
Cabinet after dark.
You should have a whole routine on that, man. Before they snatch up the First Amendment and lock you up for that shit. But anyway, but you should do that right now.
Maybe then.
Cabinet after.
This is Urban View Mornings, weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. East on SiriusXM Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. Now back to Urban View Mornings with Greg Carr and Lamont King
on SiriusXM.
Republicans are defrauding the American people. Last year, Republicans promised that they would drive down the high cost of living and ignored Project 2025, lied to the American people as if it didn't exist. This year, Donald Trump, the administration, and Republicans in the Congress have done nothing to drive down the high cost of living. Costs aren't going down, they are going up. Inflation is going up. America is becoming more expensive and less affordable under complete Republican control of government.
That's Hakeem Jeffries. I need tougher talk. That's not the tone I'm looking for. That's 3 years ago talk.
And he, word is that his leadership is
in question.
Position is weakening by the day. But we know that those knives would always be out for a black man. I'm not even talking about political ideology.
Well, if you know that and the writing's on the wall, I would. Hey, man. Push the envelope.
Jasmine Crockett.
Man. Well, not
Summer Lee.
Somewhere between Hakeem and Jasmine, right in the middle. Somewhere, not as fiery and as over the top as her, but a little more terse and tough. That Stephen A. Smith, if you will. If I could get some
Stephen A. Smith just out here talking.
Yeah,
we see his mouth moving, but I think there's another orifice that's actually speaking at that point.
But if I could
can't confirm it without being in person. I could smell and be, oh yeah, that's your ass.
Listening to that clip from Hakeem, it's like, all right, we know this. Like, okay, Captain Obvious, we get it. They lied to us. Like, I want to hear like, hey man, you know what I mean? This is that, this is this, here's where they did it, and we're not going for it, and da-da-da. Well, give me some confidence to believe you.
But that wasn't, I think about black elected officials in the United States. If we go back to
we're not allowed to do that.
Well, if you go back to Reconstruction, you had the Robert Smalls and the Robert Elliots and others. You had the Blanche K. Bruces out of Mississippi and Hiram Revels, who were iconic because they were the first. And then you come after George White leads the federal legislature in 1901. The next iteration, you had the Oscar Mitchells out of Chicago, this kind of thing. And then the next iteration, probably the watershed man, is Adam Clayton Powell.
Yes.
But after the 60s, you begin to transition and start looking at these people like heroic figures. Politicians are not heroic figures. Politicians are employees. When you see the rest of us take a stand, that will embolden those who have a voice. We shouldn't be looking at Jasmine Crockett or anybody. We don't treat politicians like avatars.
That's true.
No, we like Al Green. Al Green feisty, fighty, holds But that's theater, man.
But even still, okay,
It's political immaturity, in other words, for us to be looking at politicians like they're our leaders.
That's
they
fine.
They're elected officials.
That's fine. But when I'm glad you made him the example. When I see him, though, I believe him.
Sure.
And it's not over the top to me. It's like, okay, that's genuine.
Okay.
He's fighting for me. You know what? I'm about to fight. I'm about to get in this fight.
Charisma and rhetoric should not be the criteria by which we judge the effectiveness of someone in the federal legislature.
That's fine. But
the MAGA Muppet has no personality, and this bastard is out here wreaking havoc.
But that's to a brain, to a critical thinker, right? To the person that is
I'm saying we can't give
those.
up on developing that critical thinking capacity because we all have the ability to do it. That's why we're here every day.
I think some people don't.
Well, I got faith in humanity, beginning with African humanity. Channel 126, 866-801-8255, friends. Every call up here shows us that we have the capacity.
Well, Brenda wants to speak directly to that point in Texas.
Hey, Brenda.
Brenda, welcome to the program. You got about 60 seconds. Hey, Brenda. Hey, can you hear us?
Yes, this is me.
Yes.
Hey, Brenda.
Hi. Good morning. How are you?
Fine. Good. How you doing? Good to hear your voice.
I'm great.
Good.
Listen, I listen often, but I have a little bit of a concern about our rhetoric concerning the Democratic Party. I understand that things are very tumultuous. It is a rough journey right now for everybody. Mm-hmm. But I think that everybody speaks a lot on these airwaves with the Urban View about your words having power and how we have to say positive things and think positive things. I mean, your comments about Jeffries just now is just like, why are we always saying such negative things about people we know have good intentions and have a good heart and could do really well? But you're talking about a group of people that you may as well say out of control people that have the Supreme Court on their side and have billionaires on their side, and people voted for them.
Okay.
And now they want the Democrat Party to come back and just kind of, fix the thing. And my main thing,
hey, Brenda, hold that thought.
Can you hold on for a few minutes and come back on the other side, Brenda? We want you to finish.
Okay.
Yeah, hold that thought. Thank you.
Forget your man. Now give it to me.
And now, Urban View Mornings with Greg Carr and Lamont King.
Foundation. Knowledge means to know. .x. Knowledge brings wisdom, and from that brings a perfect understanding. Actual fact. Understand that.
It's time. I'm so blackity black, skin look magically waxed. Since pun had the Mac in the back of the act, my skin black as my gap, my hair in nappity naps. Came from scholars through the knowledge, these actual facts. And they don't like that, my hair twist and braids. And they don't like that my fist is raised. And they don't like that, I uplift and praise the most gifted ways my ancestors gave love. Blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Facts. Hypertension come with that though, it's part of my roots, so part of my truth.
All right, welcome back into it. Come back on in. Good to see everybody. Thanks for listening to Urban View Channel 126. We're talking powers and becomes action. And Urban View Mornings, disrupting all morning radio algorithms. You had a choice to be anywhere, but wait a minute, you don't have a choice. This is where you're supposed to be. Dr. Greg Carr, Lamont King, and you, 866-801-8255. Brenda is on the line out of Texas. Welcome back, Brenda. All right, so the point that you were making about Hakeem Jeffries' audio.
And about us as a people.
As a people.
I don't. Yes, I really just don't want us to continue to be negative about what they are trying to do, because if someone has a rebuttal against this system, which we have a constitution, but we have allowed money into our system in which everything is purchased right now, our boats, our land, whatever we own is purchased by the wealth, because that's how they vote. They influence the vote by their money. So that's a problem for me, but it is what it is. I just think that we have to get to a place that we say the same things, because we are looking at an administration that have documentations that their lives. We have boxes stored in someone's restroom. We have a convicted felon, and we don't have a Supreme Court right now that supports you not being able to be a president. Right. And so when you come against something and you have the Supreme Court that is not going to support you, then now your job is on the line. So I understand why some of them are just like silent, because once he files a lawsuit, Trump files a suit against someone, then here the Supreme Court supported, and then you're out of work and you have a home and family. So I just want us to get more on a positive page. That's all I'm saying. I think we should just do what they do. They swore they didn't send this text, and it's in black and white, and now we have to have a whole week conversation about it. Like, it's in black and white. You sent it. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know. I just want us to bring our level up a little bit. Like, stop fighting with those little fuzzy things and get serious. Like, we just have to say the same thing, everybody.
Mm-hmm. All right, I can dig it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Brenda.
Okay.
Thank you, Brenda. It is important. We got to elevate the dialogue, and I think that means so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, you can talk about tone and tenor. You can talk about standard content. You can talk about elevating the dialogue and the conversation around questions of values. And, you know, we might not like, we want to see more. I want to say not more positive. We want to see more. But at the same time, some of the most effective communicators are those who aren't the most demonstrative. I mean, when you hear, for example, the grilling in this last week of the clown show on Capitol Hill, you know, listening to John Ossoff dismantle.
Correct.
These cats, with Jamie Raskin,
firmness,
and just very even tone, yes and no, yes and no, And you were military, right? Yeah. Okay. So if they had done this to your troops, what would you have said? Okay. So what about this? But I mean, they look like fools. But of course, the problem we have there is that that's living in the reality-based community, and then people turn on television or radio and hear some bullshit and just repeat it.
Yeah, they repeat it. But also, my other problem is with journalists, and I have the same issue with them. You're reporting the story as if it's normal. And I know that's part of
sane watching.
Yeah, and it's so that gets under my skin when even the I'm talking, you know, you got entertainment news, which most of these channels are, but then you got news talk radio that I listen to every day on the way in, and it's like you just reported that whatever sounds you played, and you reported it with a straight face.
We don't call those people reporters. We call them repeaters.
Yeah, and
you're
like,
a repeater.
There's no
you just repeat.
And not even, you don't have to change your voice. You don't have to say, "Oh, that was stupid," but you could say, "Hey," and as we know, that whatever I just said just now that I repeated from the president in that story, we know that that's not a fact. I need you to add that extra layer of.
It's beginning to seep in.
You know what I mean? Like,
but by seep in, I mean,
and we want our listeners to know that that's not true. You know, as opposed to just saying what happened and then moving on.
They're not going to fact check. That's right.
Yeah, that's so annoying.
And there are many sources that do. I think, you know, what is our obligation here on Urban View?
And that's part of it.
This isn't a news station.
Yeah.
Although we talk about the news a lot, quite frankly, because most of these quote unquote news outlets really aren't. I mean, CNN at this point is a whole ass WWE, and the reporting in today's newspapers talk about the people who are flocking to Fox News, back to advertisers, Amazon, and them, right? Yep. So, you know, all of those people are utterly worthless when it comes to sources of reliable information.
But
so what's our response? Are we a filter of sorts?
Well,
I think about that a lot as we kind of.
I do too. I'd like to think that we are, because even since I've gotten in this seat, you know, I look at things differently. Yeah. And so when I listen to news or so-called news, I'll be like, all right, hey, wait a minute, you just gonna let that fly?
Okay.
You just said that and didn't, you know what I mean?
Important.
You know, and they'll say, you know, Kash Patel said XYZ, and then, all right, and here's the weather. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. You're not going to sit on that for a minute, pause?
No.
And flush that out and show us that that's absurd?
No, they're not. Which gives us more of a, maybe.
So we are a filter.
Especially as we sit here in the eagle's nest. Yeah. I mean, there is a responsibility, but then that creates, and it's funny, I think about that a lot. You know, this is really a full-time job.
Correct.
And if you are entrusted, I won't say gifted because it's not a gift. Mm-hmm. It is a gift, but more important, it's a trust. This space is a trust. Mm-hmm. If we're entrusted in it, what's our obligation then? All of us, everybody on this station, in terms of, because the thing is, there's a people often use the metaphor of a fire hose. There's a fire hose of stuff out there.
Yeah.
So what's our obligation to select out of that something that will provoke people to think, engage in conversation? And it's a tough standard.
Yeah, it is. And I spend most of it, and like you said, it's a full-time job. I spend the better part of 24 hours out of my day prepping and sifting through. I use the word prep loosely, but sifting through a lot of the information, because what I like to do, to answer your question, what is our obligation? What is my obligation? I like to bring you that which you might have missed.
Well, we missed everything. No, literally. We literally missed everything. We talked about Sudan this week for a moment. The state has recaptured the city of Khartoum. We haven't talked enough about that. We haven't talked about Haiti in quite some time. Those are just two places. Congo, of course, the invasion of Eastern Congo.
But for me, not even topically, but perspective. So there may be a way you might not have thought about something. And I feel like that's what I'm here to do.
I see.
You see what I'm saying? To use the word filter, it's like, hey, this is happening. You might not have caught this, but even if you caught it, did you think about it this way?
I'm pretty sure that people haven't caught
a lot.
Which means there's got to be a balance between, like, today, Christopher Miller and Paula Atama from the front page of Financial Times under the headline, U.S. pushes new deal to control Kiev's minerals with no security guarantee. People may have vaguely heard that, Trump, they want to take all of Ukraine's minerals. No, they want them all now. And they're not guaranteeing that the war is going to stop in return.
At first it was like, you give us this,
split us half, we'll supervise. Now it's like, no.
We just want the stuff.
The new draft deal sent to Kiev on Sunday. It's almost a week, and seen by the Financial Times, goes well beyond an initial joint economic accord hammered out last month. Senior Ukrainian officials said the proposal could undermine their nation's sovereignty, root profits abroad, and deepen its dependence on Washington. They are literally saying that this new thing they're proposing, which is we take all your shit, and there's no security guarantee, they're likening it to robbery.
Oh, yeah.
But then yesterday, the clown with his pencil, as his brain continues to devolve and melt, as we see him getting sicker every day, signed with his little crayon another executive order. He just threatened one of the big girl law firms in D.C., Wilmer Hale. Now, and that's all the talk at all the law schools and among all the legal community. I'm going to have that conversation endlessly, and I'm sure I'm going to have it when I go over to Howard Law School today for the 14th Amendment Center opening. When Paul Weiss broke themselves and bent the knee, that sent a message. The legal community is roiled right now because Paul Weiss is one of the big boys. Paul Weiss is the ones that sued the Proud Boys for Bill Lamar and them for Metropolitan AME to say they're going to give millions in pro bono work to Trump as if he needs anything else. And I'm looking at this mottled clown as his face melts and he ages by the year every second.
Paul Weiss run by a board or by a person?
Well, they have
who would have made that
partners.
decision?
The senior partner, the managing partner is the one who did it. He called hell. Karen and I talked about it Saturday in class. But I'm saying the next one is Wilmer Hale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying these are the white shoe law firms. These are the ones that everybody trying to get a job at, the big law firms. And I'm saying that our responsibility is to make people aware of that and to maybe have some commentary on what that may or may not mean. But if we, how do we balance making people aware with the narrative interpretation, with the framing? Or I guess framing is that too strong a word?
No, framing is about right.
I mean, it's tough on the back because, again, we just spent the last couple of minutes talking about the law firms in D.C. and the law firms in the country. We drove by right quick, Congo, Sudan. I mean, how do you select out? Because this thing is being driven. And, again, this is Steve Bannon as he wrote it, as he has been speaking it for years. Throw everything out.
Yeah.
And
they put their war plans in a book.
And look, that's the Cliff's Notes for those. That's the summary. That's the AI
plans.
Summary at the top of your Google search, which you should ignore, by the way. But they just put it there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, you can't. We just have a heightened responsibility, and I think we're meeting the bar. But at this point, now we got to level completely up because, at the end of the day, let me just say in a sentence, what they are doing on every level is illegal.
Yeah.
And the lawyers know it. The policymakers know it. And how you have to fight back against them is very simple. Those who are in a position to fight back initially must do it now. That's the Wilmer Hales. That's the Paul Weisses. You can't bend the knee to these people. And then the rest of us, if you're in media, if you're some form of platforming, I hate that word, but it's so funny. It's election season now at HBCUs, and one of my kids from Atlanta is running for one of the Miss Crowns, I think School of Business. This child showed me a TikTok video that she made yesterday. I was coming across campus, she and her girlfriend, I think they're sophomores or juniors, good kids. And he said, look, this is my campaign video. I'm like, oh, wow, that's great. And then I looked, 150,000 views.
Yes.
And I'm saying, so, what's our obligation even on these airways? Last night at the reading, at the Chad Bozeman reading, somebody came and said, I'm a serious listener. I listen to y'all, listen all day. When I'm driving the kids to school, they're like, Mommy, I want to hear some music. Right, listening right now. No, we got to listen to this. I'm saying the children are on TikTok watching these 2 minute, 1 minute, 30-second, 5-second videos. Here we are, but we have our opportunity through their parents and through them. Some of y'all listening right now. In fact, I would love if some of y'all would call today and maybe give us some insight, particularly some young people who we've been asked to incorporate more. Give us some insight on filtering. What is the way that we can filter so that it becomes something that you now come to rely on? I mean, I don't just mean Greg and Lamont or Shauna or Omi. I'm talking about everybody, Clay and Reese and Karen and Lou on the weekends and Wilmer and everybody else. I guess Sharpton would listen to us. Maybe he wouldn't. I mean, he's a preacher, been doing this a long time. But, well, actually, Sharpton is a good example because in some ways he's an outlier.
Yeah.
He's from a previous generation. You know what I'm saying? And so when I listen to him talk about, that one word with several syllables, National Network, when I think about that concept, I'm thinking Operation Push, Jesse Jackson, which is what National Action Network in some ways kind of models itself on. And every Saturday in Chicago, Push has their convening. And for decades, Reverend Jackson stood at that podium in Southside Chicago in that building and communicated. And the radio network was there, and the Defender and the other newspapers were there around the country, and we had that network. That has been replaced by TikTok, Instagram, and here we are somewhere in between.
Well, social media, there was a report, I saw a report yesterday that was talking about, a couple things, actually. Social media rewiring the brain.
Oh, they absolutely rewired the brain.
So,
but that's what I mean. We've talked about that here.
Yeah. So the
books, Kyle Chikaya, we've talked about that, and then it's almost like we don't even remember that.
Yeah. So
the fact that we talked about, I think. Well, let me hear what you're gonna say. Because maybe we didn't talk about it.
No, we did. But my point is, to your point about TikTok being the vehicle, or something like TikTok being the vehicle. I don't want to give them all the credit, but to that brain, 25 and under, they've never been without it.
Yeah.
So that's how they learn. So if that's how they learn, then that's the vehicle that should be used, because the brain is already wired.
I absolutely refuse to concede.
Yeah,
because they're not learning. They are learning, but what they are doing. In fact, that's why I mentioned Kyle Chaka. In fact,
but if the brain is rewired, then it can be. Learning can take place in that manner.
Sure, but it can also be rewired. I don't concede that as an educator, because like I said, these young people showing me this TikTok video yesterday afternoon are also my students.
Sure.
And I'm not about to, and this is for every educator out there.
Can't.
Oh no, I'm sure I could, and you could, and anybody else could make TikTok video. We got
No, that's not what I was saying.
What was that university that opened and closed?
What's that?
Oh, Hillman Talk, right. My point is
that wasn't real.
If neither is the idea that somehow you can conform to this idiocracy. That's why I said, in fact, Sam, his dance card is probably full. Kyle Chaka's book, Filter World, How Algorithms Flatten Culture. That's the one I was thinking about. It came out a year ago. But in that process, what happened? We can't concede that. We can certainly use it as a medium. We can,
Sure. That's why I said vehicle, like get you to one place to the next. But you have to understand and accept that if that brain works in that way, then that's what it is.
The development.
You and I have cell phones, right? We existed before cell phones. We know what life is like before cell phones. There's somebody after us that has never known what it's like to exist without a cell phone, right? So to that person, you demand that they use a landline, or you demand that all conversations happen in person. Their brain is not set up to work in that way.
The developmental psychologists remind us that just as a brain was wired, it could be rewired.
It could be.
And I'm saying our brains are being rewired.
Sure.
And they're moving increasingly towards people who have no other point of reference. They're not moving in the back and forth. And that's what we have to guard us against, because
that's how you said we're standing in the vanguard of that.
We have to have,
we're in the midst of that.
Sometimes I have to fast every day. I do it after class. I do it after this show if I can.
Detach.
After 3 hours of talking and music, I gotta be quiet.
Yeah, I do the same.
You know what I'm saying? Because to read, for 2 hours before we walk in the studio, I'm reading. You gotta read. After class, people come and it's like, hey, okay, I can do it. But after that, I gotta be quiet, even if it's just for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But the constant barrage, it is impossible to do deep thinking.
Yeah.
When I get on public transit or I'm anywhere and I hear that pitch, they got in earphone and I can't hear the words. I know it's some mumbling, but what I hear is that hi-hat, those drums. That thing is penetrating your consciousness.
Man, when I hear someone else's phone music, oh my God.
It doesn't even matter if you got it in earphones. It don't matter, because
when I hear
that pitch is desired
that's
to
like
destroy.
nails on a chalkboard.
It's designed to destroy your brain.
So here,
I'm sorry, to rewrite it.
Right. And to your point, yes, it can be rewired. I'm gonna give you the best example. I'm gonna give you the best example. COVID, the first maybe 40 days when nothing was moving. And what happened? Nature came back.
Oh, it sure did.
In about 5 weeks.
Sure did.
The same thing could happen to our brain, and that's the reason why.
Same thing did happen after we detoxed.
That's the reason why these sites do not go down.
No question.
That's why.
But that's
why TikTok won't be sold.
I'm glad you. Well, and it's so funny. We ain't heard no more about that.
Correct.
Let's be clear. We haven't heard. In fact, tomorrow, like I said in class, we're going to talk about this David Lionheart article that came out in the Times day before yesterday, under the headline, "By the time Trump comes for your university, it's probably too late." So in other words, they've already they're scaring the lawyers off so they can't sue, because they know Trump isn't doing this because they're weak. He's doing it for the opposite reason. They're strong. If these lawyers go to court, they're going to win.
Yeah.
This stuff is illegal.
Because you're my lawyers.
I'm saying that the challenges are it's going to be impossible for the bench to allow Trump to do what he's doing. That's why everybody said just calm down. But once you attack the lawyers, they start making deals. Oh, y'all not going to court? Now we got a problem. A judge rules against them. And this MAGA Muppet, who if you mashed his brain together with every ancestor in his line since they migrated from Africa, wouldn't fill a thimble, gets on television and says, Congress has a responsibility and we can defund the court. Man, y'all got to fight. You got to punch these guys in the face. This jackleg backbenching come on. But people are now backing up because they don't know.
Yeah.
We have to. And so, to your point, in COVID, not only did the rest of nature came back, we came back.
Yeah. Sure.
As we sat in the houses after we had the withdrawal.
Yeah.
Like, we need some club quarantine. Please be nice. I need some music. Then it got quiet. What can I watch? Okay, I done rented everything. And I got
watch.
Then what can I read? Yeah. And when Karen said, can I push record? And we started in class with Carr. When we started that, at its height, 250,000 people every week after week. And now the distractions are all back, but we continue, which is proof of concept.
Cutting through,
It's proof of concept. And the reason that we're like a metronome. These universities, if you bow down, if you take this L, I'm talking to everybody here, K-12, educators, it's time now not to figure out how to accommodate these fools. You must run to the battle. DEI, kiss my entire humanity. Here this the curriculum we're teaching. Come on, try to shut us down. Come on, Secretary of Wrestling. You can't make peace with these people.
No,
do you understand?
That's what started this whole conversation.
And guess what? Yeah. We're going to help you. Why? Because we are not relying on brick and mortar institutions. Y'all want to come to class tomorrow morning? Tomorrow morning for the 264th consecutive weekend. Come. We narrative, Nubia, all the other places where we're not relying on them.
And you mentioned twice today already the Smithsonian, and in response to the executive order, and you talk about being a filter and bringing things that might have got missed. President Donnie John signed a executive order yesterday evening, Thursday night, after hours.
Shout out to
after business hours.
Dr. Ajwa Osmore, who just got taken off of one of her commissions. This is a nonpartisan commission. She sent me the story while I was in.
So the White House got rid of divisive narratives promoted by certain museums in the Smithsonian chain. Now, do you know how big that is? So you're
Bunch is secretary of the Smithsonian, history. The whole thing. I'm gonna tell you what Dr. Bunch gonna do. He gonna make Trump fire him. He's not gonna quit
because you can't work there.
I don't know Lonnie Bunch well, but I know this much: Lonnie Bunch ain't bending the knee. Not that man from Brick City, not that Jersey boy. Lonnie Bunch not gonna bend the knee. And guess what? Neither should we. We should take our feet and ram it up the collective intellectual and cultural ass of white supremacy, breaking their spine from the point of entry, the sphincter, breaking their spine all the way up to their damn skull. This is the end of white supremacy. They are terrified, and we should make them very clear that you should be scared at this point, because we about to roll over y'all asses like the sea. I cannot wait for the critical mass. And you think we quitting the battlefield? Shit, we ain't even fought y'all yet. We've been trying to be nice for 250 years. That ends, my friend. It's over.
Executive order claimed that the Smithsonian Institution, which operates numerous museums in the nation's capital, has in recent years, quote, come under the influence of divisive race-centered ideology because they showcase history.
Well, you see, the National Archives tried to bend the knee before they got in. Yeah. This is the executive order, again, something that the clown had not read. He cannot read. Something that he signed under the headline. This is on the White House website, now. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Restoring truth and sanity to American history. Couldn't agree more, baby. We're going to dance and your feet about to fall off. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. You ain't no king.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Paul Weiss. Hey, Wilmer Hale. How the rest of y'all Weiss, you law firms? If y'all not going to take this cat to court, get out the way.
And how do they even enforce that?
They can't. This is my point.
How do they even enforce
This is my point. Y'all done told this man.
Take that picture down. I don't like that picture. It makes me feel away.
What was that little puppet that Fred Rogers used to have with the crown? The little king that came at the castle. You know what I'm saying? This fool think he one of them guys. Or what's the guy with the mask that be on Burger King commercials? You know,
the king.
When you take your child to Burger King and they give you that crown, that's what they treating. That's why they were on. Nah, I don't know this to be true, but what do you think about this? This Signal Gate, was Trump on the group me? Was he in the chain?
I didn't hear that.
He was not.
Yeah,
my point is, I think some of that stuff was we don't want him to know.
Oh.
In other words, look at how when you read those texts, look what Junior Varsity was saying about Trump. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, Junior Varsity. Smoky eye. You know damn well that man is insane. That's why Peter Thiel and them put you as the vice president. My point is this stuff can't be enforced. I love every line of it though, because what he's doing is telling you, look at this. Once widely respected this is in the executive order. Once widely respected as a symbol of American excellence and a global icon of cultural achievement, the Smithsonian Institution has in recent years come under the influence of a divisive race-centered ideology, as you read. This shift has promoted narratives that portray American and Western values as inherently harmful and oppressive. For example, the Smithsonian American Art Museum today features, quote, The Shape of Power, Stories of Race in American Sculpture, end quote, an exhibit representing that, quote, societies, including the United States, have used race to establish and maintain systems of power, privilege, and disenfranchisement. I'm going to stop there. I have that catalog. I've seen that exhibit. It is indeed at the American Art Museum here in Chinatown in D.C. Beautiful exhibit, very powerful. And let me tell you something, my friend. Here's what we can't do. We can't say, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't do that. That is the defeatist. That's bending the knee. This is what you do. This is what I do. This is what all educators should do.
With better
you
words.
Say, I don't disagree with a thing in that sentence. You're absolutely right, because race does establish and maintain systems of power, privilege, and disenfranchisement, and that's what that exhibit does, and my tax dollars paid for it. And if you want to come down in the street and have this fight, the best intellectuals you have will crumble like chalk before a baby once we line up. This is bullshit. Your executive order is absolutely correct. That's exactly what that does, and you can't shut it down. And come down here and try. Come down here and try. Bring your funky American flag line suit jack wearing DUI convicted sexual assault
keep going.
Secretary of Defense to come down here with his toy soldier army and find out how quick, now that you're destroying morale in the military, find out how quick all this crumbles once we punch you in your funky Brill Cream face intellectually. No question.
You're listening to Urban View Mornings on SiriusXM Urban View. We'll be right back. More Urban View Mornings with Greg Carr and Lamont King
on SiriusXM.
All right, welcome back to Cabinet After Dark. This is Cabinet After Dark, where 80s.
Now that's up Pennsylvania Avenue. D-list.
Soft
you know how far down you got to be on the D-list?
In the presidential administration.
Yikes.
Hey, come on in here, Christy. I want to show you my riff. Oh, that's a big furlough you have there, Mr. Patel. You want me to freeze your funds? Cabinet After Dark. Welcome. All right, let's go to...
I'm going to hollow out your cabinet. Oh, my God.
Take the buyout.
Foolishness Friday is later in the day. Take the buyout.
Take the buyout.
You had to keep that same energy. When Karen come on, Lord, I can hear her. Right, man. Foolishness Friday. Actually, Foolishness Friday is Foolishness Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday now in the United States of America.
All right, let's go to the phones, man. See what you're talking about. Let's Texas, line 3. Hank. I think we heard from Hank before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Say, man.
Yes, you have. So man.
Say.
All right, let's get this call stuff straight. So last week I hit you up, and with Joe always does your name and the state you're from. So that's how the Hank from Texas came up. Hank from Houston, I've always called you guys utilizing that. I was the person who I told you about. We talked about home finance because we as homeowners are experts. I talked to you all about the power industry and how we need more of a private-public concept.
Because you was at the nuclear. You was at the nuclear spot. The nuclear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's talk about fixing this political thing. I wouldn't mind having hit you guys up on a direct thing with this, but we're going to tap into this right quick. I'm trying to have a conversation about it. Mm-hmm. Calm myself down, because when I get on here with you champs, it's like when you're talking to your favorite professor, you kind of get nervous. I ain't going to lie to you guys.
That's how it is. That's how it is.
Don't be. Not at all. Not at all. We just family
it's not
talking.
Nervous in a bad way. It's just that you want to bring value to the conversation because you want to not so much impress, but you don't want to let them down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, same here. So we all on the same page in that respect. Yes, sir, Hank.
All right, so here we go. Mm-hmm. First we need to know who we're up against. We constantly get caught up here thinking we're guided into a conflict with these politicians. These people here are toadstools, stepping stones, whatever you want to call it. We need to study the real architects behind this thing, who are like the Heritage Foundation, big money, these tech boys, stuff like that. Who are these people first and foremost? Because these stooges are just following orders and or get out the way.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
You touched on Peter Thiel on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. This man here, there's a few articles out there on him. You got one in Forbes where it talks about how J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, what to know about the relationship between Trump's vice president pick. Remember, J.D. Vance was the never Trumpers.
Mm-hmm. That's
he
right.
was like, he's an idiot, he's a clown, he's all this. Peter Thiel got with that boy back in 2011, and he told him, calm it down.
Yes, he did.
I'm going to take you to the White House in 2016. What you're going to do is shelve that nonsense because I'm going to put you in place for the vice president. When we move him, you will be the next king on the deck. So they call Peter Thiel some kind of a kingmaker.
That's right.
Business Insider has an article that they did on March 11th, and it's called The Godfather of Doge. It's Peter Thiel's world now. We just live in it. If you check that out, you're going to see some stuff. Peter Thiel also, he had a romantic partner, a dude who passed away in Miami. It was investigated. He was pulled up. They called it a suicide. Peter Thiel's been married to a guy for quite some years, but he had some sideshow action going on with his lover, and his lover happened to die. So knowing who these people are, it's like, how are you so anti this, and this when, dude, you
a queer man,
you roll that way.
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
But now with that PayPal mafia, these cats started up PayPal. Musk wasn't originally in the group, but Musk came along. These guys are tight from way, way back.
Oh, no
like,
question.
Hey, you got the president? You funding the president? Cool. I'm going to fund the vice president. Here we go. Let's go get this thing. We're going after the full apparatus. So you need to know your enemy on that point. Now, as a Democratic strategy, Jasmine Crockett runs out there like you get outside from out of the wagons, you're getting shot at. You're taking unforced errors when they say, because I knew the moment she said Hot Wheels, they're gonna link her to going against disabled people.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there. And now she's having to defend that first before she can even comment on anything second. Some people love the hot mouth. They like the thing. However, some of those things can be a distraction because now you can't get your point off because they're only focusing on
100.
your fault. Even though Trump got out there talking about, I don't know what I said. That didn't stick to him because his people are party loyal. Screw who the candidate is.
And he's a white supremacist, and this is a white supremacist country, so it doesn't matter what they say.
That's right.
He can mock somebody who's disabled, right? Because they
you saw as soon as he did it. You saw as soon as he did it, what they said was, "Oh, he didn't mean that. He didn't mean that." She don't get that shade, that cover. All right. So we already got grassroots movements centered around humanity, the people. Look at Reverend Barber, stuff like that. Those are easy groups for Jasmine Crockett to link up behind and say, hey, this is what we're talking about, humanity for all. Yes. Everyone should be given this thing here. You don't have to run out there and try to lead a new movement when you have movements that you can adhere to because we, the people, are the interest group. So what interest groups do you want to get behind? How do you want to be effective? Bring the resources to those particular groups. That's what you do as Democratic politicians. And then we need basically take it up the endeavors of the people. I'm going to throw something out there. I don't like using this. It feels immature, but I'm going to do it anyway. So in the words of Tupac Shakur, you get your money right, and then you go to war. Money is a proxy. That's a proxy for resources. You get your lawyers, your material experts, you get your thinkers, your leaders, the group elements. You educate. Now we're going to get into some kinks. We're going to educate, mobilize. I forget the third branch of that, but basically it's like collection of facts, negotiations, self-purification, direct action. So an example of the direct action is putting your resources, with your resources, you can't be irresponsible.
Run that list real quick one more time, slow.
Collection of facts, negotiations, self-purification, direct action. That's from King's letter from the Birmingham jail.
Got it.
And the example is withholding your resources. So let's say, but when you do it, you can't be irresponsible. You're not so much going to shut these folks down because like Peter Thiel runs Palantir. I was buying Palantir last March at $15 a share. That thing shot up over 115 this year. But that's only because I'm looking at integration of microchips and technology and stuff like that. I was buying Tesla when it was $100 and something because the how do you put it? The technology was growing, not so much the people behind it. It was because, you can't stop this. This is going to be the new wave.
Right. You buying things like that. What are you bullish on Tesla still?
No. See, the thing about that is, like a couple years back, Trump had a buddy that worked at Canon. Oh, Canon's going to retrofit that stuff, do this, do that.
Right.
Anything that dude touches is going to turn to a turd, but what you're going to see is an immediate spike. So
immediate spike. Random options. Random calls.
Musk can't close his mouth enough in order to allow the companies to grow. So he's a toxic-ass character. So you can't roll with him. You see how Thiel stuff is still holding solid, even though he's just as evil. He just shuts the F up.
Yeah.
So that Musk and Trump are going to tank anything you try to support. So what we should do as people, pull your stuff from that stock. Screw the products on the shelf. They can make 1 million widgets. I can care less. When that stockholder value drops, the ass is going to listen.
Oh, no question.
Now, I'm going to talk about the Weiss guy, and this is my last comment.
Okay.
The attorney. Weiss has been duped in this trade. The trade was Weiss is going to get an extension of access to the executive branch, right? and traded for, that's what he's getting. What he's giving up is saying, I'm going to do $40 million of pro bono.
The firm.
Dude, them dudes about to put you 15 man on the bench. They'll never use you for anything. At any time you run your behind out there to go help someone else out, they're going to say, oh, by the way, we need you now. So Weiss and them will never get another case because anything that opposes Trump, he can't do. Conflict of, well, they ain't gonna let you, and then anything you do is going to be worthless because they don't value you. They feel like, why would I bring on a traitor? If you traded the other side, I'll never use you on my side.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But I bought you so I can put your ass deep on the bench.
Yeah, that's certainly
you 15 man in the line. You'll never get called. I bet money on that, and if I do call you, it's going to be something so embarrassing to you. It's going to undermine everything you did in the past. Do you really want that access?
Yeah, well, apparently.
Or how bad do you want it? No, I don't think they really do. They're thinking that we take this slice on the chest and put that mark of whatever on your arm. You was a former soldier in the Roman army, whatever the hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that strategy is not going to work. We saw that foolishness with Stephanopoulos and ABC and Disney. They bent the knee stupidly, but
that's more of that rap stuff. How do you watch your brother, your uncle, your dad go through this thing, and you did the same thing they did?
Right. And fortunately, CBS wised up, said, "No, we going to court. Y'all not, hell no. We not giving you no damn interview. You lost your damn mind." And hopefully, Wilmer Hale will not follow Paul Weiss. Hell, they tell me they're going to ban y'all from federal. But you can't ban our lawyers from federal buildings. Sure I can. I'm the king. Man, take that sock bucket king and put him over there back to that Burger King shit. We'll see you in court.
Do you think that they have the guts for that?
Well, I think that the smoke that Paul Weiss is getting because there are two ways to go. Is exactly what you're saying. Is exactly what you're saying, Hank. I mean, you got two choices. It ain't get down and lay down. No, that's get down and lay down is if you have the upper hand. They can say that in South Philly. Benny Siegel can say that. But here's the thing. In this case, you're the lawyers. The reason he's out here talking crazy is because he's scared. All this stuff is driven by fear. In other words, he knows that these guys can take his ass down.
But I said on Wednesday when you introduced it, there's something else to make them even want to do it. There's got to be a promise on the back end.
No, it's the profit motive. They're afraid of losing their money. And that's what the managing partner, Paul White, said.
But they want that clearance because with that clearance comes a lot of openness to, hey, I need y'all to do this top thing for me, but it requires a security clearance. Do you have it? And if he revokes that security clearance, they feel like they're screwed.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. You going to lose your security clearance because you disagree with him?
Anyway.
No, I'm saying you going to court now because the point is that these clowns on the Supreme Court, and I'm calling them clowns for a very specific reason. It's not that they're not smart. It's like that ideologically they've allowed their ideology to blind them to the reality that they're destroying the federal bench, and more importantly, they're destroying the concept of American law. That's what they're doing. They did what they did in Trump versus United States, but then you come back and say the president of the United States can sign a piece of paper and revoke our security clearances and access to federal buildings for our lawyers. No, we're going to court. Now, the question is, what are the courts going to do? If the courts say that they can, you have now dropped every facade that there's anything even remotely resembling the rule of law, and now you fight politics, you fight full spectrum, and when they come back and say, no, what we meant is, no, we know what you meant. You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. Or you go to court, you say the president cannot sign an executive order and effectively ban lawyers from federal buildings and revoke security clearance, to suspend, which is the important difference, to suspend security clearances, because now you got to show cause. What's the harm? You got to show, and the answer to everything we know in a fascist state is ultimately going to be national security. Or national interest. That's where they're headed. Yeah. But my point is, you have to prove that in every case, in every minute, as we move forward, moment to moment. And I'm telling you, they cannot sustain that burden. And that's why at Paul Weiss twice today, you got partners looking at other partners like, y'all done lost y'all damn mind.
Yeah. What are we doing over here?
What are we doing over here? And then Wilmer Hale, he coming with that same.
What are we doing? But they're also looking back like, then what has all the work we've done prior to meant then if this?
Exactly.
So they're actually having a self-reflection right now, as well as that current thinking and forward look.
That's exactly right.
I promise that was the last thing, but here we go.
No, go ahead.
With Trump now.
One more.
All right, so with Trump now, you change the law first. You disarm the enforcement apparatus. Then you implement your plan. At the same time, remember, we've seen this in former civilizations where you say, okay, I come in here, I get rid of the healers. So now when we go to war, they can't fix the soldiers back up, or the ones that are most adamant to hit that front line. Then I'm going to get rid of your scribes. Then I'm going to get rid of your educators, or at least convince them, because these are not warriors. I'm going to convince them to start spitting my rhetoric.
Come on now.
I'm going to get them to spit my rhetoric.
That's right. That's why we on the line. That's right. That's right.
I got politicians that roll over and get out the way because we coming through with this loud ass machine with the boots banging on the ground. They're going to move. They don't want to fight. Then you wonder, how did we get to where we are? Then we get back to what y'all spoke about earlier, like martial law. Who's going to check us? And then, but back to Mike Tyson. Your ass is only tough until you get punched in the face.
Everybody got a plan till they get hit. No question.
That's right.
They should send that message
you really gonna roll up in here?
Send it to Paul Weiss. Everybody got a plan till they get hit.
Hit in the mouth.
And Mike Tyson, right, you done trained for all these weeks, the bell rang. I was telling the kids, they didn't never seen Mike Tyson. I said, if you came late to a Mike Tyson fight, even if it was 5 minutes, what happened? Oh, Mike knocked the cat out. That's what I'm saying. We are Mike Tyson in this scenario. We are Mike Tyson.
Okay.
Trump and them ain't even Leon Spinks.
Collectively, but we still have to come together first. We have to know, we have to understand there is cause and purpose behind us unifying. This includes you too. Like when that person says, well, I don't do politics, my thing don't count. Have you ever seen 100% participation? If you've ever seen 100% participation, your freaking heart will blow up in enjoyment.
We are Mike Tyson in the Barbara Walters interview, sitting next to Robin Givens. We on lithium right now. We're not awake yet. We Mike Tyson drugged. That's where we are.
As long as we don't put no tattoo on our face. Yeah. I'm sorry, Clarence. You already did that. I'm sorry, bro. But you were never Mike Tyson in the first place.
Hey, Hank, man, thanks for calling.
He was like Marvis Frazier. Frazier. You had the name, but you didn't have a game.
37 seconds.
Yikes. See, this is all it would take.
Yeah.
Paul Weiss, why y'all do that? Wilmer Hale, don't follow them.
Don't do it.
Miss some of today's show? Want to hear it again? Favorite Urban View Mornings on the SiriusXM app to hear our latest episodes. View Mornings with Greg Carr and Lamont King
on SiriusXM. Come on.
All right, welcome back to the program. 26 past the top of the hour. Make sure you get to where you're going. They're waiting on you. It's Urban View Mornings. Dr. Greg Carr, Lamont King, and you. All right, let's go to the Midwest state a little bit. Ohio. I consider that the Midwest anyway. That's line 4. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Hello, how you doing today, Dr. Carr?
Good. We good.
Brandon, what's up, brother?
Yeah, man, he stumbled to that.
What part of the Buckeye you in, man?
I mean, we are in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, up there by Lake Erie. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, real quick, I just want to let you guys know I work in manufacturing, and every March, my employer lets us know how much of a raise we're getting for the year. They told us this year we are not getting a raise due to the tariffs.
Are you serious?
What's going on with the tariffs?
Yeah, how are y'all connected to the supply chains, the global supply chains, Brandon?
See, what people don't understand, even though you produce or put together things here in America, we got so much stuff coming from all over the place.
Yes, sir.
All over the place.
Yes,
like when you in your car, you go turn that knob for your volume. Who knows where that knob came from?
Come on.
You understand?
It's a foreign knob.
Come in and out from you. It's come so you put a 25% tariff tax on any of that stuff. It's raising the price up.
No question about it.
I work with like 70% of white boys, and the gold medals that these cats will win for the mental gymnastics that they're trying to do to put this stuff together, Dr. Carr, Brother Lamont.
You said the gold medal.
It's ridiculous.
And next on the pirouette will be Charles from the assembly line, who will tell you why he voted for Trump, even as he lost his health care and his job.
Right.
Go.
Wow. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Carr, but the highest percent of the people who own slaves in the South was about 25%, correct?
Oh, no, not even that close, but you're absolutely, it was a fraction of the people. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So on the eve of the Civil War, more than 75% of poor white men kissed their wives, kissed their children, and grabbed the mullet and went and put their entire life on the line. So the people can keep their slaves.
Yeah, they did.
And
Yeah, they
you
did.
You got these stupid Democrats like Carville and all these other Clinton throwbacks think that they're going to convince these type of white folks to vote for humanity.
Teach, Brandon.
They not, man, listen, man, they not going to, man, they're going to gladly give up health care, Medicaid, good schools for their kids. All in fact, man, please, whiteness is a hell of a drug, boy.
That is exactly right. Yeah. Come on, Brandon. You done broke that down, brother. That's right. And they would rather die. Yeah. Man, that tariff thing is serious, man. They write in today's Financial Times under the companies and market page saying that almost half the vehicles sold in the United States are imported, while those assembled in the United States on average source nearly 60% of their parts from overseas. This tariff, man, people, but you're saying they will rather die than give up their master. Well, we're gonna see that theory put to the test.
And y'all in there, career employees who the history of raises every year expecting, and this year they're telling you up front, not this year.
Yep. The last time we didn't get a raise was in 2008.
Wow.
Jeez.
And then, but wait a minute, hold on. The tariff ain't hit yet.
Ain't even hit yet.
Well,
so somebody lied.
It's a threat of the tariffs because, like I said, we get so much stuff that comes from overseas. So much stuff.
So how do you see this playing out, Brandon, short term and long range?
As an employee?
Unfortunately, I think that we're going to take a hit. We're going to take a hit because the price is going to go up.
And we know that.
We're going to take a hit.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
Now, are you actually on the line?
Yep. I'm production worker.
So how much of it is automated and robotic?
Well, I'm a press brake operator. So a lot of that is mostly manual, but more robots are coming in, slowly. But I've been in manufacturing for almost 28 years. So yeah, compared to now to today, it's a lot of more automation.
Is that a threat to your actual job?
No, not really, because I got about 2 more years.
I'm about to say you're gonna make it to retirement.
Anyway.
But if you want these young cats on the line, though, man.
No, because I definitely told all my kids like this is not where it's at.
Yeah.
Your grandfather and your great grandfather, that we was able to work 30 years, retire, have a good pension. I said them days are over.
Yeah, those days are gone. Those days are gone. Serious business, man.
Yeah. All right, Brandon, man. Thanks for checking in with us.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah. I know we're on a short. Let me slip these in. I know there's some birthdays today. Bernice Albertine King, Dr. King. Our friend Dr. King down there running the King Center. It's her birthday today.
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, the great Bill. Well, he's named head coach of the Celtics, right? It wasn't his birthday.
I thought it was his birthday.
Yeah, that's right. But I tell you whose birthday it is.
Today that happened.
He's your frat brother,
Who's
former
that?
president of Fisk University, and I want to say general president of Alpha, Henry Ponder's birthday.
Oh, okay.
Is day. Dr. Henry Ponder. Good to see him in his 90s still. And my man Luttrell Palmer. Those of you from Chicago, you know the name Lou Palmer. Lou Palmer was a giant in media, memory maker, memory keeper. Lou Palmer, who famously said long before I came along on the radio, that when something crazy happened, he says, enough to turn a Negro black.
Yeah.
The great Lou Palmer's father actually wrote his memoir, Lonely Place Against the Sky, came out the South, and they migrated to Chicago. The Palmer family story is amazing. But it's Lou Palmer's birthday. He's an ancestor.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right, let's go back to Illinois. Line 3, Rob.
Oh, Illinois.
Rob, welcome to the program. Good morning, Rob. Peace.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, you just spoke about my man Lou Palmer.
Come on, talk to us, man. The ancestors don't make no mistake.
Yes, and I listened to that man for years as a youngster growing up.
Okay. On WVON?
VON.
Yes, the voice of the Negro. That's what them letters stood for. That's what was in Chicago. The voice of the Negro. Yes, sir.
Said, and I want to, these last 100 days should be enough to turn a Negro into a black man.
No question. There's no question about it.
What we're witnessing, man, I hope we shouldn't be, I guess, frustrated, but let's get enlightened. Let's strategize as people, because these people who are making these moves right now started a strategy 4 years ago. Yes. They implemented it.
That's right.
They are aligned with white nationalists.
Yes, they are.
The reason we lost is because we didn't have a strategy. And to this day, we don't have one. And I want to just define, when I say strategy, let me define what I mean. Yeah. Strategy is not about what is true. It's about what would have to be true. This man painted himself. He became an entertainer. He entertained the society to the point where they wanted to see him on 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, prime time.
Great
became
point.
Prime time. That was his strategy.
Yes, sir.
We wanted to try to play by a book that doesn't exist.
Come on. He dropping jewels.
These people are not playing by, man, you've never seen anything like this in your life.
Yes, sir.
What has happened in the last 100 days? Nothing. Nope. There's no law.
Nope.
There's no law.
Nope.
We're going to make the law as we go.
Come on.
This has been done to us since we've come into this country.
Yes, sir. Yes,
There's no law. You have to treat us what we have done, man. We have provided. We made this work, this country. We are the true scientists, the doctors, Imhoteps. We are these people. We are. We got to embody that.
Teach, Rob.
Not know that. Embody it, man. And I just want to say my last little point, man, and I'm not trying to advocate for my brothers and sisters to become black nationalists. But if it has to come to that, you see what this man has done, aligned himself with?
Yes.
That's all this in his cabinet. They're white nationalists.
That's it.
They're running it.
That's it.
They're running it.
That's it.
And I want to say this last thing, man, because I was so, you had a great conversation yesterday in reference to our religious leaders in these religious institutions. I want to say this to my brothers and sisters, please. God is in all of us. Don't be fooled. There's not one reverend, not one pope, not one cardinal, not one bishop performing any miracles or healing anybody in this current time of day. So when you go look for a friend and you want to go pray, go look in the mirror.
Come on.
God to be with you because He is in you.
He is in you.
I love you, brothers, man. I just pray that you guys keep continuing dropping this knowledge and encouraging our people. And God bless y'all, man.
Hey, man, thank you.
God bless you, Rob.
Yeah.
Love you,
brother. Right on time, man.
That's the beauty, man. The power, the succinctness, the ability to articulate that way, and all delivered with that kind of Elijah Muhammad whisper. I'm thinking about the South Side Chicago Hyde Park neighborhood. He said, "But Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad, are you teaching hate?
God is in you, brother.
God is in you." White
Don't
reporter,
look for him. Look for yourself.
The guy, he's sitting on the couch, and man said, "Mr. Muhammad, are you teaching hate?" "No." "What are you teaching?" "Truth." That's it. Little whisper.
That's it.
But what he said, man, when he said this was Trump's strategy, he get to the point, become an entertainer, and people want to see you on
all
TV.
Day, every day, and you'll never have to buy commercial time ever again.
And he's talking like this, and with that little whisper. And then when he said, what did he say? He said, "We want to play by a book that doesn't exist."
Yeah.
Come on, brother. Yeah. I'm going over this 14th Amendment day-long symposium, and that's going to be ringing in my mind. And as they talk about the 14th Amendment, I'm going to be sitting there like, you're speaking a language they don't understand. That was Malcolm. And Brother Rob said, you're playing by a book that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We're making the law as we go up, as we go along.
No, in the last 100 days, like you said, like you have never seen in your life.
In your life.
And that's
my man exactly Reba Kelsey will be 100 in June, gearing up for the celebration, and he ain't seen it. He lived through, was in World War II, Korea, all that, man. Ain't seen it. Went to school with Martin Luther King at Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta. Ain't seen this though.
And so that being said, short answer, quick answer. You're fighting the unseen,
but you know the rhythm. We haven't seen this formation, but we noticed. In fact, let's just be crystal clear, like you said, in the short form. What we are experiencing now is the entail of a 500-year inevitability. This was what it was curving toward. Not to contradict Dr. King, where he says the arc of justice, the arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. No, the arc of white supremacy is short, lasts 500 years, and it bends toward resolution. We about to resolve this with our wayward children who wandered up in that ice 10,000 years ago and got caught up in that Worm ice age, and we adapted to it and came out with a lot of harsh ideas about how to treat each other. They are our children, and it's time to discipline their asses.
They are our children.
Or let me not go. Tomorrow, 264 in class with Carr. Oh, we're going to have a time tomorrow. Tell your friends. It's on YouTube for those of you not subscribed to Narrative to Nubia. We go live.
Wait a minute.
Karen Hunter, Greg Carr, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, you don't want to miss this one, friends.
That's not the episode on grafting, is it?
No, we don't do that. Okay. No. I'm not with the Yakubians or the big head scientists on the Isle of Patmos. We're not talking about narratives. We're not talking about myth making. I'm not talking about water into wine or walking on water. Not talking about the desert and any of that. Not talking about big head scientists. No form.
Good.
Of myth making. All facts, all the time.
I'll allow it.
Yes, sir.
You're listening to Urban View Mornings on SiriusXM Urban View. We'll be right back. Now back to Urban View Mornings with Greg Carr and Lamont King
on SiriusXM.
Back to the program. Welcome back to it. 17 in front of the hours, 43 passes. Urban View Mornings. Dr. Greg Carr, Lamont King. Off topic, I thought this was kind of interesting. RG3, Robert Griffin III, caught a little heat recently for claiming that the Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier was not political. Was not a political.
He got a Jerry curl?
Yeah.
He got a Jerry curl into the NFL?
Did he? I thought he had the twist forever.
Was it twist?
It was like those twist
I
plaits.
don't remember.
Yeah. But everybody came for him. The entire internet.
Everyone?
Including Rob Parker, who
Rob Parker.
Suffered a little bit of disgrace at the network, but who has always called RG3.
That's a great phrase. Suffered a little bit of disgrace at the network.
He's always called him RG3 corny. But I saw some breakdowns, and
I didn't see that. Okay.
So no, he was just saying when the DEI thing broke about the website and the military Arlington, and they took Jackie Robinson's profile. And he was like, "Well, I mean, it's not. It wasn't a political thing to begin with."
Okay.
But one thing
should have stayed at Baylor.
Maybe
cut another semester.
One thing Stephen A. said that I thought, he said race is always political. It's always. Yeah. So it's no.
I don't listen to Stephen.
There's no way to move away from that.
Mr. Next Day Tough. Absolute definition of right. Yeah. Of well, you say we gonna slap LeBron?
Yeah, he said we gonna slap.
Come on, man. This is the definition of what Trump did. Don't ride Stephen A. Smith into a political career.
Yeah.
I don't watch Stephen A.
All right, we got company. Let's check the camera. Oh yes, please.
This is a beautiful conversation to have. Let that sister in. She's, here we are at the end of so-called Women's History Month, because we know every day is Women's History Day. But we are joined by a whole living legend, civil rights legend, human rights legend, academic, former professor, provost, and interim president. First woman to serve in that role at Howard University. One of the conveners and early joiners of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. She and her sister Dory out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Also one of the organizers. If y'all see the the film Bayard Rustin, you will see a young lady there who's working out of the New York offices helping to organize, one of a dozen people helping to organize the March on Washington in 1963. That is the sister whose voice you'll hear next, who was there in 1963 and who has been on the wall from before that until this very moment, here to talk about a very important event that's taking place this weekend in Washington, D.C., and that is Dr. Joyce A. Ladner. Dr. Ladner, good morning. Welcome to Urban View.
Morning to you.
How you feeling this morning?
Well, I would not be up so early.
Yeah, me neither.
Hey, look, y'all. Look, for the young people out there, just understand that Dr. Ladner has, if she never get up early again, she been up early more than all of us, including all over the world. I want to, we could talk about it. And we want you to come back and talk about your life and times, because, that's something that we definitely want to engage in. But we know that you're working on something that's taking place this weekend, Dr. Ladner. Do you mind sharing with us what you're involved with this weekend?
Sure. I'm going to be a part of, or one of the women honored at a gala for the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation. It's being organized by Deborah Watts, who was a cousin of Emmett Till's. I think there are about 12 of us who will be singled out. My relationship with all of this started when I was a kid growing up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which is south near the coast. Anyway, I remember so clearly when we heard that a boy had been dragged from his uncle's home and it disappeared. Turns out it was Emmett Till who was dragged out of his uncle's home after they'd all gone to bed, and it was in a town in the Delta of Mississippi where cotton was king. I mean, everybody, white people owned cotton farms. Wealthy people did, and they had plantations where black people lived in shacks owned by the plantation owners. And they worked all year, the time for the harvest to come in, and they wanted to go and settle up with the owners. They never got any money for their labor all year because the plantation owner also owned a little store on the land where the people would shop. They owned the shotgun houses that they lived in. And then they trumped up all kinds of other charges so that at the end of the year, they received nothing. But Emmett had gone down to Mississippi to spend a couple of weeks with his uncle and aunt and his cousins from Chicago. The little boys went to this grocery store, and it is the white woman cashier there whose husband, and she owned the place, was alleged to have whistled or have called the woman baby or shown her a picture of a white girl. And he said, "This is my girlfriend." We don't know exactly what happened. But later that night, they came to Emmett's uncle's house and dragged him out and took him away on the back of a truck. He was murdered. His eye was gouged out.
My God.
He was, well, let me just skip forward.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember seeing a picture of his face, of his body, on the cover of Jet magazine.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was because Mrs. Mamie Mobley Till, Mamie Till Mobley, rather, insisted that she wanted an open casket funeral. The owner of the funeral home tried to persuade her to close the casket, and she said, "I want the world to see what they did to my baby."
Yes, ma'am.
So, and the world did see it because there is a photographer from Jet magazine who snapped a picture of it, of him lying in the casket, and his face so mutilated that it was just indescribable.
Yes.
And they put it on the cover of Jet. So every person I knew in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee had seen that picture and had said that one day they would avenge his death. My sister Dory and I certainly felt that way.
Yes, ma'am.
That one day we didn't know how or when we were going to do it, but we were going to get even, as we said.
Dr. Landon, you both have, and after your sister making transition recently, when we always think about her, but you have spent your entire life getting more than even. In fact, we was on a short time this morning. I just wanted to mention that the folks are coming to the to the National Press Club, I think, on Sunday to honor you, and a lot of other people too. I see and now, of course, people may not know this. You all both knew, of course, the great Medgar Wiley Evers. If memory serves me correctly, you saw him shortly before he was killed.
Doris saw him. Doris had dinner with him shortly before he went home and was murdered.
My God. Now am I correct, Dr. Ladner, that Myrlie Evers is going to be honored with you on Sunday, March 30th, on this coming Sunday?
I think so. I can't remember.
Yeah, I see her on the list. I see Whoopi Goldberg. I see a bunch of other. Duke Ellington's daughter is going to be there. This is going to be quite a thing. How long have you worked with the Legacy Foundation?
I've communicated with Deborah Watts, the founder and executive director, for some time. But this is the first event that I've been a part of.
Yes, ma'am. It's quite a thing. And for those who want to get tickets, you can still get them. It's going to be Sunday, March 30th, 2025 at the National Press Club here in D.C. It's 529 14th Street Northwest here in Washington, D.C. And they have, you can go to Eventbrite and look up the Women of Courage Awards.
Right.
Dr. Ladner, word on the street is that you working on a memoir. Is that true?
Don't jinx me even more than I...
No, wait a minute now. This is the woman who edited The Death of White Sociology. This is the woman who wrote Tomorrow's Tomorrow when they gave her the honorary degree at Columbia University. When was that? Like last year or year before last, I think.
I think it was 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, they had a whole conference up there at Columbia on this woman and her work. So we can't jinx you, Dr. Ladner. You have been jinx-proof for a very long time.
Well, as I've gotten older, it's harder and harder to write.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why I said.
I understand. Well, you know what? You got an army of people who will help. I understand getting older, but I also understand that your writing on the best day for many of us, myself included, wouldn't touch yours. So, and there's a bunch of people out here who would love to help if you needed some, because that's one of the reasons.
Well, get their names for me.
Okay, did y'all hear that? Listen, there are people out here listening now. We got a lot of listeners. If you're trying to be down with Dr. Joyce Ladner and help her out, one of the towering thinkers of our time, you just got recruited. So we will definitely start collecting some of those names, Dr. Ladner. Okay. Yeah. So
well,
go ahead,
a great portion of it has been written, but it's that last part where I have to zero in on myself,
Oh, and you've never been one to do that. That's true.
No, it's very difficult to talk about.
Well, maybe
one's own contributions, it's because my mother always said, "Don't toot your own horn; let somebody else do it for you."
Well, we can certainly help out with that. In fact, we could just talk about you. Maybe we just let us do the last part. We can talk about you. That's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, well, then I think we've solved it right here on the air in the Black Eagle's Nest. So we get.
That's what your show is called?
Well, it's Joe Madison. He's in, the Black Eagle. We're in his studio.
You took over his spot.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, so you could tell us a little bit about, you have a relationship with Joe Madison, huh?
Yes, I knew him. We attended, he went to undergrad school where I got my doctorate at Washington University of St. Louis.
That's right.
He was there much later, but I knew him.
Yes, ma'am.
Great guy. Wonderful person.
No question. Awesome. We're trying to hold up his...
Once I told him that had he come along earlier, he would have been a SNCC worker.
How about that?
Wow.
Now that's the ultimate compliment. Dr. Ladner told you, boy, if you come along earlier, you'd have been with us.
Yeah, and you would have been a Stokely.
Oh, Lord. I don't know about that. I'd be chased out the country, but y'all fought from fist to fist. In fact, we only got about 60 seconds. Dr. Ladner, when you were president of Howard, if memory serves me correctly, you were the president that gave Nelson Mandela an honorary doctorate from Howard, wasn't it?
I sure did.
Ooh, wow. Nice.
What an honor. And they told me, when I went to the South African embassy to talk to the ambassador, he said he'd never come to Howard. What? And I got back in the car and started making phone calls.
You got it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Dr. Ladley, Dr. Joyce Ladley, we're going to have you back because we need to talk some more with you. And we just wanted to make sure everybody knew about this Women of Courage Award, Sunday, March 30th.
Yeah, one final thing. You know what Nelson Mandela told me as we were
we got to hear this. What did he say?
When we got up there, when he saw how many people were in the audience at Howard, he said, Madam President, I had no idea that all these people would be here. I said, well, Mr. President, they've come out to see you. And he was shaking, he was visibly shaking.